Welcome to Yildiz Readings 5D, a hub in which we cover your zodiacs, astrology, twin flame path, moon energy, and more. Should you need a booking, you can go to the link below. And for all information relating to our psychic tarot extension, the information is in the box below. Without further ado, let's take a look at what I see coming through for your zodiac sign. Were we wrapping up 2022? More than likely. We did have Mars, the planet of war, obsession, passion, sitting in the house of Gemini from August last year, where it did then ingress into the house of Cancer, which it is deemed in as detriment, but many of us are super excited at the fact that we get a break of that. Separately, we had Saturn shifting into the house of Pisces, which occurred on the 7th of March, 2023. It will remain there in the house until 2025. Separately, our big Pluto ingress into the house of Aquarius did occur last month. This also is going to be a huge subject coming in the collective due to the fact it's going to shift between Capricorn and Aquarius, wrapping up its karmic cycle. It can feel a little bit testing, especially now because it was at the 29-degree point, shifting into 0 degrees of Aquarius. We're still trying to get our footings and getting the PDF of what subjects are going to be really looked at with great detail and really cast out because they're simply not working. Let's take a look at how this month is going to be shaped for us and what we need to be prepared for. Now, what can April bring? Number one, we do have an eclipse occurring this month. Number two, we do have Mercury moving retrograde. We're going to feel that mid-month. We also have Mars sitting in the house of Cancer. That can bring themes of emotions to the surface, and we do need to try and be patient. And I definitely see some themes really playing out in a sense of new beginnings. And I found it really interesting at the fact that we had a new moon last month and we're having another new moon in Aries in two sets. So I really felt as though we were going to start something brand new, have an inkling of it, but really not get the full, momentum of it happening. And I do feel we're going to have more clues to this, but it really started to set the stage last month. And so wherever that Aries placement is for each zodiac, which I'll dive into, what I'm seeing is this hybrid partial eclipse that is going to be occurring on the 20th of April, 2023. And I feel it's important, don't make any major decisions if you can. Moon is very emotional. It can be home, family, mother, intuitive energy. And Sun is the identity, the logic, and generally speaking through that, we tend to not have either. So, whereby we can delay making decisions, especially because it's already entering into that shadow phase of Mercury retrograde in the house of Taurus. I think it's really important to, I would say, be optimistic, but be cautious. Really, dot your I's and cross your T's. You could feel that some blessings are coming back to you from the past, but it also can be a time where we're going backwards to go forward simultaneously. But I do see this is a brand new chapter. So I would say by mid-month, try to have your ducks in a row. Try and keep as organised as possible and be aware of those inkling frustrations and tension points where we do have that first eclipse of the year, which is a hybrid. We also are having a full moon in the house of Libra. And I think that's pretty interesting because both the axis of Libra and Aries will be coming about later in the year as the nodes move. And they tend to set the tone of what we have astrologically happening globally. And I did say really at a collective level that feminines do need to be very cautious of how they show up in society, of their safety, their wellness, and being that we're entering April with Mars in the house of Cancer, practice safety, practice self-awareness, try to build people up, try to not pull them down, but very much protect yourself where need be. As we do move into the month of April, we are in the vibration of angel number 4. Separately, we can also look to number 11 for added guidance, as we do have it being the 4th month in 2023, breaking down to an 11. Now, what I see coming through for this is we can have this sense that we are feeling very alone, that we're feeling very isolated. This particularly could be because Mars is in the house of Cancer. And so with our endeavors, with our hopes, with our feelings, we can particularly really feel misunderstood. Now, 11 is a brand new chapter. We can feel a little bit out of our depth, but know everything is very divinely guided. Alignment is key, but it's a brand new chapter. So again, the tedious frequency of the precipice of change can feel like you are a giraffe trying to gain its bearings. Know that you're not alone and that help is coming. You are going to be attracting in brand new situations. And even if you do feel out of your depth, know that universe has your back. It is the precipice of change that does make us feel very tense. Trust the process. We can feel misunderstood with our feelings, our emotions. And again, Mars can bring volatility to those dynamics. So knowing where Mars in Cancer falls in your chart could be pretty key. And also really getting prepared, because we do have an eclipse this month. And so where you're feeling that there is lack, there are also going to be opportunities. And it's really about getting into alignment, seeking out those situations, having that attention in those areas of your life and enhancing them where need be. The burning question on all of our lips may be, is this month going to be any better? Are we ready? Are we prepared? And what is hidden? And I'm going to cover all of that inside of your zodiac. I will give you tips where I feel are necessary inside of any heavy energy that does potentially come through. And separately, you can book a private session or join a YouTube membership. Let's take a look at your zodiac sign and all the various areas that can play out this month for you. Welcome back, Capricorn. We're here to do your update and see how this month is shaping up for you. For those of you who do follow me, you would know already that Pluto has ingressed into the house of Aquarius. What does that mean? Your zodiac sign has been impacted by Pluto. Pluto, it's almost like it turns you inside out. It gets rid of the things that don't need to be there. It can be your image, your identity, other people's opinions, how it directly relates to you. Capricorn also is a very traditional sign. By no means am I calling you traditional, but it is the tried and true. It's the traditional. It's waking up and doing, more than likely a 9 to 5, if not more. Very separately, regardless of whether that happened to you or not, you at a personal level would have had a heck of a lot of changes over the last few years. This is the first opportunity to get a break from that. And now moving into your second house, what can happen is you can transform self-esteem, confidence, any outdated ways that you feel you deal with stress, be it using pacifiers or emotions, suppressing your feelings, increasing your net worth, positioning yourself on the map within your career in a very lucrative way. So it is going to help. It's not all doom and gloom. Pluto's a little bit like, this revelation we didn't know, and then we have an inspector come out and they say, hey, by the way, you've got white ants, you've got termites in your walls. And, we could turn a blind eye and then the house falls down. So they're things we didn't know. They're things that we were like, oh, heck, okay, I think I need to get rid of those. And that will help my home sustain for another 20 years. So it's necessary change. But it also can be those real taboo subjects. So it can be like intimacy, death, tax, all the things that we're embarrassed about, for instance, and we have shame and, we don't articulate it to other people. And sometimes it's even hidden from ourselves. So it can come through in a myriad of ways. Your wealth can increase, changes you can make, savings can increase, going up a tier level at work and not tolerating less than what you're really worth. And again, your assets can start to increase, but you can really get rid of things that you don't need. So if you found you were, having furniture, etc., that you've had for eons, now can be a time over the next 20 years that you actually do make those changes. What I can say is we are having an eclipse this month. Mercury is retrograding. We're going to look at each section of your life and how it can influence those areas. And with any warnings I feel that are, suited to that domain. Without further ado, let's take a look at your romance sign. Now, 2020, we had the Great Conjunction. It did impact your zodiac at a very personal level. And you might have felt back then that things were really getting pretty heavy. This also was impacting you and your love life. It was you versus other people. So if you did go through separations, changes, transformations, identity crises, it was very possible. It was quite intense. We did find that everything might have been on you. So it was almost like the flashlight goes on you and it's like, hey, Capricorn, what are you going to do? Can you fix everything? And, you know, we can take it personal. We can end up carrying a lot more. And so you may have had to, in your life, carry quite a bit from there. And it's going to dissipate now where some shifts are happening. I also feel in your love zone, you know, because it moved to the South Node back then, it also was really impacting your love life. And then we went to the next cycle and it was Gemini. And we also had Mars retrograde most recently, and it was from August last year to now, to last month, apologies. And that was really impacting your wellness, your vibration, having to do the eat, pray, repeat. And you may have felt very fatigued. You may have also had wellness situations crop up that were, you know, really affecting you, you know, in some shape or form. And you may have taken things personal within your love life if the balance and the harmony of what you do versus what other people do was not equal. So the last, I would say, 4 years, all the way, but let's just say all the way back from 2020. And it's so important that I mention this to you because of the ingress of Pluto out of your zodiac sign into your second house. These are the reasons why these things were shifting. You can find some reprieve, even though this month is pretty big. Some reprieve, big changes, bold transitions. Now, some of you could move home. Some of you could get to a point that you're wanting to move in with a love interest. I do feel love is going to ease up, but near both moon phases this month, you could feel a little bit impatient, a little bit moody. Love is going to be very passionate. You can almost feel obsessed by it, and it's because Mars is in the house of Gemini. Mars is in the house of Cancer. The other thing I can say is later, Mercury is going to retrograde. And again, those blasts from the past for those of you that are single, those of you that are in a connection, talking about things of the past, pregnancies are possible. So if that's something you're not really wanting, just practice safety. This can be a very romantic time in the first 11 days. As Mercury retrogrades, again, it's bringing it back up. Socialization, getting out and about. Don't overcommit yourself this month and go easy on yourself. Mars being in the house of Cancer is in its detriment. So how that can be playing out for you is it tends to act like an obsession. You know, it's very determined. It's going to go out there and get it. It can be very vivacious. So you can want to get fit. I should mention that in your wellness zone. You can be more physically active, have more vitality. You can be more accident prone. You also can be extremely fertile and obsessed about love. Now, if you're currently in a relationship, this can be a time of reworking and renegotiating the terms of the connection. That doesn't have to be that anything's wrong with it. It can just very much be your style, their style, revisiting some things that you used to. You can be very nostalgic and talking about the past and then talking about the future. And it can be a huge shift really in the dynamic of it during this month. Now, during a full moon in Libra, it could feel like an existential crisis. You could have transitions of career. You may decide during this time that, you know, you want to change something up. But inside of love, you may be thinking, okay, what is the purpose of this? Where are we at? And it can be a pause for a second for a brand new beginning. The eclipse also can be quite an intense time. And you can have a lot of changes around home, but you also will be more determined to get things on board. Some of you could be moving. Some of you could be having people move in with you. Fertility can be very high, but around the eclipse, which I will mention shortly, as we do connect to that portion of the update. I would say give it a few days either side. Don't react reactively. Also, be cautious with your confidence, your self-esteem. Eating-related dynamics can come up, but definitely love is set to set your world on fire. Now, your career sector can be up for some changes. That's because the full moon in Libra is happening inside of your zodiac, inside of your career sector. Also, with Pluto in your second house, you can find you do go up a tier level. Some of you may be looking at things and paying off debts. But I do particularly feel if you are looking at wanting to transition, there is a possibility in the first 2 weeks. If you don't make that transition and you're really happy during this time, the one thing I can say is as Mercury retrogrades, get all your ducks in a row prior. Around the 21st, it's retrograding. You want to be well and truly ready because things can go not according to plan. You also may have things going on with love, creativity, creative projects may be revisited. And those of you running home-based businesses or thinking about such, it could in fact come through near the eclipse. If you are really happy in your place of employment, it can just be a little bit tedious. I would say also be cautious. Be cautious with making brash decisions. Be cautious not to run yourself down. There is a possibility of running yourself down. And this month for your zodiac sign is going to require a lot of organization, especially as Mercury goes retrograde. If you're wanting to network, I would suggest, and this is just merely a suggestion from the way I have seen how the transits can work out for us, probably the best time to really get them out there is as it goes retrograde. It sounds crazy, or a couple of days before, about a week before. That way, as it goes direct, there will be delays, and you'll thank your lucky stars for that. It gives you time to reflect. It gives you time to let go and detach and to be present in the moment and to deal with the schedule that you have in front of you. And then as it moves direct, more than likely, you are going to have a lot of opportunities. Wait for it to move direct prior to you making a decision and signing on that dotted line. I mentioned it before. I would say you can be hitting the cookie jar early on. We do have Mars in the house of Cancer. You are potentially, there could be self-esteem issues with body, and I wouldn't stress about it too much, but you also could be getting very fit. You can be accident prone at this point in time, so just make sure you stretch and do anything you need to do. Fem checks is a possibility as well. If there is inflammation, you may have heavier cycles this month because of Mars transiting through the house of Cancer for feminines. I also feel there is a possibility near the full moon of, feeling a little bit out of sync. Try to not take it personal. Do some guided meditation. You can do your salt baths, Epsom salts, infusions of rose water. That's really going to ground you. Otherwise, heart chakra, and really eating. Try to eat balanced. And I know that sounds crazy. It's like, yeah, of course I'll eat balanced. I do eat balanced. During Mercury retrograde, make sure to check for PPE. You have transits in your 6th house. It can run you down. You can burn out. And you are also going to feel that you're pulled in many directions. So if you have individuals in your life that are pulling on you, nagging, you're going to become irritable. So create the healthy boundaries. Really get that heavy lifting done in the beginning of the month so that when it does move retrograde, Mercury, you can be more fluid and spontaneous, and it's about being spontaneous during that time. Also be cautious because, yes, there could be surprise pregnancies. It could be something that you're really wanting, to have happen. Romance also, romantic liaisons can come in. There is difficulty near the eclipse, however, and I would say about 4 to 5 days easy in to the 20th, 4 to 5 days out easy. Just don't make any brash decisions. Pluto in Aquarius is making a square to the eclipse. We also have Chiron and Aries there. And Venus will be from the 11th in the house of Gemini. So by being organized, by eating balanced, by emotionally being in awareness, you're going to handle the transit better. I would not do spiritual baths during the eclipse. I would do them prior and a couple of days after. You can smudge your home. You can use guided meditation prior and after, and just sit and allow the frequency to move through you. Or you could be missing the PDF, and it's not going to work anyway. You don't want to be doing Epsom salts of an eclipse or a new moon. You want to recharge. So hydration, definitely practice good PPE with food and check your use by dates, because Mercury is retrograding in a Venusian sign, which can relate to food and produce. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have some recalls. Ain't it great? Now, I would say in the first 11 days, you can be very social. You can be spending a bit more. Towards the end of the month, save a little bit back just for those unexpected situations. I'd also, and I have said this to everyone, but again, protect your goods, protect, logins to your bank, update them. It's Mercury. It's also, like I said, in a Venusian Venus sign that can be relating to money, security around your home, security around your children. But definitely during that cycle, make sure to check your statements. Make sure to check your emails and your logins and the security. There can be delays with payments coming in during Mercury retrograde in Taurus. And save a little bit back, because you could have some repairs that come up unannounced or some unexpected expenses. Pluto can, especially if you're signing a contract or you're waiting on something coming through, because you do have the home zone there. It could be signing a lease, signing a contract. If you can get the signing of such done, try and do it beforehand. If you can't, it is what it is. The other thing is, repairs, security consciousness, really, because it is through your second house. So be it you're in a fire zone, protect the home. Be it you're in a high crime area, protect your home. That way you're protecting your goods. And don't become complacent with leaving doors open. Be aware of your surroundings. I am going to try and get all the blog posts done per zodiac sign within the website, which I do give some mini tips on there if you do want to come through. We also do have bookings online, all information below. Now, entering into this month, we are having the full moon in the house of Libra on the 6th of April, 2023. Now, collectively, we can find that we are looking at our wellness. Something can be coming to a head. We can have such in the media. Very separately, what we can find within our own personal zodiacs is key things relating to wellness, love, abundance, balance, and justice. I do feel, as we do look at this at a collective level, I do feel we are going to be really reworking what we can do to keep ourselves grounded, keep ourselves healthy, and to find the most stable way to have a brand new beginning without being codependent. Due to the fact the next moon is going to be a hybrid eclipse, which I'll get into in a moment. Let's take a look at how this links to your zodiac sign and what I see coming up for you with the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April, 2023. Now, balance within your wellness can be a theme that comes up during the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April, 2023. It can be a little bit emotional. It is a pink moon. It is heart chakra. I also would say you could complete one role. For some of you, it could be that you complete a role and you get put up a level. So it may be that you're completing a purpose, maybe coming to terms with things and going, this doesn't resonate with me anymore. And it could be something ever so basic. It could be a hobby, a pastime. It could be coming to terms with the past of an individual. But I feel it's more to do with individuality and purpose. So it's more your personal purpose, be it it's a physical career, a role you're taking on in somebody's life. It's coming to a close. And that actually can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. So stay grounded. take a PDF with this month. Like, and nodes later. Nodes are energy that can play out in a sense of a theme. So it's a little bit like picking up a book and you read the back of it or the front of it, and it gives you a little bit of a PDF of what the story is going to be about. This month is what this is going to do with both these moons. Moons can be very emotional. Eclipses also can be extremely confusing. Not necessarily does it have to happen on the same day. Also, sometimes it can be months later, but generally speaking, we're going to get the undertone. So more than likely, it's not smack bang on the day. It can be a week to 2 weeks prior, and easy 4 weeks, but it will affect and transform once we reach the eclipse the next 6 to 12 months. So during this moon phase, this is where the nodes are going to be. Like I said, it's the information of what the story is going to be till 2025. Keep an eye. We're still wrapping up an old cycle between the axis of Taurus and Scorpio. Again, that has been very much impacting you. So try to take notes, journal, be present, try to go with the flow with things and know that it is happening to everybody. Now, the very first eclipse of the year has come in 2 sets. The moon is deemed as a black moon is because we had 2 new moons in one set, being Aries. Now, this is the first eclipse of the year, being a hybrid partial solar eclipse in Aries on the 20th of April 2023. Now, it's also at the critical degrees, and being a new moon, I do particularly feel this can be something quite radically changing very quickly, especially because this is your first house of self. This could be a time in which, with Mercury retrograde, don't do anything drastic when it does come to your hair, your makeup, plastic surgery. I would pause. Now, Mars wants to go in where, it wants to move forward. It's in a hurry. This would be the time where benefits from the past can come. People can appreciate you. You have large revelations to do with yourself. Also, where you're living, feeling, sensing, intuition can come up. But I would say don't rush. I do particularly feel, because we do have situations retrograding at this point, and this is eclipse, as much as possible, we may find that there's more information coming to us, and this can really aid us through having that brand new direction and confidence for the future. I do particularly feel for you at a personal level, this could be anything to the degree of gaining confidence, having clarity, making a conscious choice of a brand new way that you're going to be, defying the odds, so to speak, not putting up with rubbish. This also could be image changes, quite radically so. And I do particularly feel you could be putting your foot down and saying, I know what I want out of life and I'm going to go and get it. Status also can come into this. So you could go to rags to riches, riches to fame. Again, I would take time with that. This also can be engagements, and personal changes that you physically go through your own personal status. But I do feel it can be greatly healing, and confidence can resurface yet again. Don't be surprised if you do go down the rabbit hole of emotions during it, but it is really going to set the stage. And once we unpack and digest what that is, you may very well find that as we proceed through the next 6 months into 2025, really, because the nodes will be shifting by such that new tone for your life, both with your marriages, contracts, partnerships, and yourself, you versus other people, is going to look extremely different. Get ready for that 180, baby. Now, you are really... I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, at least it's the nodes. I mean, I have Pluto in your position where this eclipse is. This eclipse is going to be sitting with you till 2025. However, we have had Chiron there for a while. So Chiron has been sort of like that healer in the background over the last few years. And he's really been working through some of these things for us. So whenever we have... a transit or a hard aspect to Chiron, these situations in these areas will come up for each of us, depending on where the house is. For you, it's your 4th house. Me, as I mentioned, my Pluto was pardon me, my Pluto was transiting through the 4th house. Like I said, Pluto is pretty transformative. You know this because it was in your 1st house. When it's in your 4th house, so interesting as I've really dived into astrology, what you can have is a lot of trauma healing, but Jupiter's here. So it's going to expand a situation. It can expand your horizons. It can expand your family. Somebody could get engaged. You could get engaged. You could move in with somebody. You could get a new house. You could set the tone and the plan and the stage for brand new beginnings. You could be looking at home and saying, what is home? Is it a physical residence? Does it hold you down? But your routine, the things you do, you could be caring for a parent, some of you. But this is taking you to that next level. Okay. So I think if anything, it's a positive thing. It's just during this eclipse, we're not necessarily going to see it that way because of a couple of aspects that are occurring simultaneously. So don't look at this month setting the tone for your whole life. It gives you a slight PDF and an inkling of what it's going to be and how that can play out. So it can be healing, inner child, finding home on the inside and finding a physical home, expanding your family, multitasking, learning about how to care for a house. And it's not that more than likely you haven't had a house, but for some, depending on the age bracket, it can be learning how to care for a house. It could be caring for children inside a house, very 4th house. It can be home-based business as well. So brand new chapters in this domain. Love to hear how it's playing out for you. Mars is making you sassy, but Mars can make you emotional only because it's in the house of Cancer on this occasion. It was sitting in Gemini, and that was from August last year. This was impacting your daily routine. It was like you probably felt you were getting nothing done, but trust me, you were. You were just, it's a bit like you're doing gardening, you're doing cooking, you're doing, a whole blog of paperwork, and then you're going, what was I doing over there with the cooking? Oh, I burnt the food. So when it was in Gemini, it did retrograde. So it did make a lot of us very tired. And in your 6th house, there could have been things to do. A pet may have passed. You may have had health-related dynamics going on. You also, during the retrograde, might have felt very sluggish, unorganized, or that you just had way too much on your plate. And you could have been obsessed also with body image, but maybe did not have enough time. It's out of that house now. So caring for your body more than likely will be coming up as Venus moves into the position from the 11th. You can be more attentive of your body during that time. Also, I would say, Venus is going to be in the house of Taurus until the 11th. Like I said, be careful of pregnancies. You can also be very organized, really going like a bat out of hell and getting things done. You just do run the risk of getting emotional, okay? Because Mars is go gadget legs. It's assertive. It's powerful. It's masculine. Cancer is mother. So yes, you could be having disputes with parents, misunderstandings. But again, I'd say it's more to do with, at the moment, the over-emotional. So Cancer being moon, emotion, feminine energy. It's the feminine and the masculine kind of showdown. Let's put it that way. So when that's happening for you, know your limit. Mars isn't going to care. Mars is going to go, and to the point of burning out, because it is in its detriment. So if you find that happening, you're going to have to tell yourself to stop. You're going to be like, naughty, okay, we've got to stop. Let's rein it in a bit and let's pause for a minute. Let me know my limit. I know I'm obsessed. I know I need to get this done. Can it wait for a moment? Breathe. Now, Mercury retrograde. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Mercury enters the house of Taurus from the 3rd. We also simultaneously, until the 11th, have Venus in the house of Taurus. You're going to have a large focus on socialization, romance, creativity. It could be decorating a house, catching up for a coffee, going out for dinner. People are going to be pulling you in different directions. You could be very busy also around projects at work, be it it's something that you're wanting to do, or you have a side hustle in a business. It can be hobbies and things to that degree. Let's look at when it goes retrograde. Eclipse happens on the 20th, to my belief. Mercury in Taurus goes retrograde the day after. Square Pluto makes a square. Squares are difficult. Squares are like, oh gosh, okay, I don't have the spade. But apparently I've got I've got a spade. I need a chipping hammer or a jackhammer because there is cement here and I just can't get to the bottom and I need to. So it's like, oh, great, this has popped off over here. Now I've got to deal with this, and it's going to be heightened emotions. Some of it can be great, but you're just so shocked you don't know what to do. But there's difficulties coming. It could be financial. It could be emotional or confidence, because it's definitely hitting in your second house. That's why I say just leave a little bit of cash by the end of the month. It's like a reserve. A reserve. Just a little bit. I wouldn't loan, okay? I wouldn't give out excessively. That's one thing I'd say. I would be cautious. You're aware of your own personal situation, so you will know what is best for you. But it's not just Mercury, okay? It's not just, oh my gosh, it's about money. No, it's not. It can be conversations you have, hearing from somebody from the past. So again, it doesn't have to be negative. This can be blasts from the past. It can be reconnecting, seeing friends that you haven't seen in ages, being pulled in two directions. And then they go, don't worry about it, Dale, we'll pay for dinner. So it can be something to that degree also. Very creative. You can have a bright idea and go, okay, I've got to get on that, but I'll have to do it next month. Just pause. That's fine. The eclipse. The eclipse will occur and it's hitting the fourth house. So it can be lots of things happening simultaneously. Give it a few days. As Mercury goes direct, any major decisions you want to address, you can address them the following month after it moves shadow direct. Follow us and we can give you those dates, or you can follow me online on my website. My information is below and I have all the transit dates. They're free of charge. Let's take a look at some of the psychic messages I have for your zodiac sign. And then if you do wish to get the extension, you can go through to our YouTube membership or read the information below for the Psychic Tarot extension. Without further ado, let's take a look at your psychic update and what I see coming through for you. Honestly, I just heard the Pink song. This used to be a fun house. Yeah. I'm feeling that for you, things are going to be better than you think, okay? I think you could be quite surprised how things can turn out when we let go. There could be a little bit of control that comes up. I just get this really strong feeling you're gonna have some really great connections. You could, if somebody is really irking you the wrong way, you're going to mess them up. I'm just going to say you will be like, you're grating on my nerves, you're using emotional blackmail. I just really see you becoming very assertive, especially if something's been festering. Never, never, never let it fester. Don't let it get to that. If you have anything to say, do it in the first 2 weeks. Like, just get to it. Get to it before the confusion and the bedlam happens, because you just don't want it heated. With the eclipse being in a fire sign, with your Mars being in a fire sign in your Venus house, because it's going to be, in the name of love, what we do. But there are, honestly, some things we simply can't do. And it doesn't mean we don't love someone. It's called a boundary. It's called self-esteem and standards, and people respect you for that. Being Capricorn, you know this all too well, and you can say it in the most loving way, but you can say it regardless. And, really be an advocate for yourself. We don't need to get angry. We can just, not sweep it under the carpet, address it. Sometimes that's difficult if we've got 101 things going on, like 101 Dalmatians. And then they're like, oh, by the way, do you want another 100? And you're like, no, not particularly. I mean, I love animals. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. You're ready. I don't know what you're ready for, but you're ready. You're ready to have it all. You're ready for the level up. You're ready for maturity and movement and actions. You're ready to do things that, look, you may find that you're wanting to tighten your belt with things because you have some plans. And that's fine. But it doesn't mean don't let your hair down now and then. I do feel you are going to let your hair down, but I do feel you're also feeling this dynamic where you're going to be telling people less things. I think you've learnt quite a bit of late, and you're really looking at people these days and you're like, look, we have a friend for every season. We have acquaintances, we've got co-workers. And it's not about never speaking to anyone. I think it's about looking at it and going, okay, there's a season for every reason. So you could have an individual that you could just bleed your heart out to them. And they're always going to have your back. And that's who they are. You can have another friend that, if you want to have a right old chat or a gossip, and gossip is really quite large on the agenda this month. I do feel you also could hear some gossip about love, so be open with that. It's a friend, like there's different styles, so it's about knowing how to deal with each one of them. Not I'm going to be Rapunzel and put myself in a tower and probably only climb down my own hair but never let anyone in. I don't think Pluto's not going to let that work. But psychically, I see that's not what you're doing. But I feel there could be some excitement. You're also missing somebody. I feel, could it be for those of you that are single? No, I think it's both. Some of you, it's a purely platonic individual. Others of you, it is a romantic individual, and it's somebody you're really missing. It could be a loved one that passed over, but I feel it's more on the 3-day. Okay, I do not know. Some of you are like, you hate your car. You hate it. You're ready. Yeah, it's car. And that's only for some of you. It's not all of you, but you're like, look, I feel you will be getting a new one. Make sure you read the fine print, especially if you're doing now. Wait away from Mercury, okay? That would be the best time. If you need to get rid of it, fine. But if you want to get one during Mercury retrograde, worst possible time. Some of you are feeling stuck. Some of you are feeling like you just absolutely love a holiday, but you just can't. I feel it's going to be achievable providing you manage it correctly. And my guides are saying you will know what that means. It can be making the plan, creating the budget, setting the date. I had somebody say that to me years ago. I was like, and I was engaged and I was like, oh, I just got to wait till I got the money. And they go, no, you don't do it that way. You book the zone, you start paying it off a year ahead. And I was like, oh, okay then. So yeah, it could be something to that degree. I feel you're wanting to change your image. I feel that, you've got moments you're like, I am so fly. And then you've got other moments you're like, I just don't resonate with the way things are. And I still think that's going to be revisited. But I think that, you're really wanting that changed. I'm also being shown those of you that got divorced, there could be some old wounds that comes up about that. But I do feel it's going to dissipate. I feel a conversation. This appears to be, I don't think it's already happened. I feel it's a conversation that's coming, and it's giving you some information, but you're not happy with it. It's not that anything is being said that is wrong. It's requiring patience for some reason. And I don't feel there's any arguing, not at all. I just feel for some reason they're mentioning patience. And so it could be that this person is giving you a lot of hope. They're telling the truth. They're being completely honest. But again, it's this, it could be yearning. It could be like, gosh, are we there yet? And I feel, could it be for those of you that are single? Not necessarily. I feel, especially if you do have a partner working away, it feels there's a distance in some shape or form. This could even be in reference to you wanting a holiday, and it's like they're saying, yeah, we can't really do that now. Some of you, and I feel this is more those of you that are working. No, not necessarily. They're really arguing with me today, my guys. There's an award. I don't know what this is about. This could be a TV show, something on TV, but I feel it's you. I feel you're receiving some sense of an award. Those of you that have a connection, there's a person that's very, very jealous. You don't even have to right now be with them. This individual is very, very jealous. And I don't mean the romantic individual. I mean a friend is very, very jealous. Be careful what you tell people. We are going to get into the Psychic Tarot. If you do want to join us, come through and join a YouTube membership or read the information directly below. Have a wonderful month. Take the tips if you choose to. Otherwise, I will see you for the next edition. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership for your Psychic Tarot extension. Come through and take a look what I see coming through for you. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership.